Here is the Wererabbit deck from Moon Priestess Returns, yet it does not have an NPR ruler. And that is because I really needed something more generic for it, since there really isn't a Wererabbit ruler per se. Okay, so this particular ruler is Charlotte from CFC, and it's a duplicate, which is great because then I'll be able to build another one when I get to CFC. Energize means that if you play second, you get this. You get an extra water will that you can use. Second, I believe it's second. Then you can discard a card, rest target resonator, so it's got that control mechanism, and it flips very quickly. I need to read the rules better. Sorry to say. Cannot be attacked. It's a 4/12. When it enters your field, draw X cards, where X is 5 minus the number of cards in your hand. I've play tested it. It doesn't happen that often. And so I think this clause, I would have had to make the deck draw a lot more than it does right now. So I think flipping it when you have 6 cards is good enough. You get an extra card, keep going. So it's not something, this is not the kind of deck, at least the one that I built for Wererabbits, where I have so much control in the deck that I can have like 8 cards in my deck and then flip it and draw 3. That is another Charlotte build that this is not the one of. For 1 water, discard a card, return target resonator to its owner's hand. So that is a control mechanism you can use to stall. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Stall your opponent until you keep drawing, and then, but you would have already flipped it by then. No, it doesn't work. No, it's all about the flip, and the flip needs to happen early. And yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, so let's go through the Wererabbits. Everything in here is a Wererabbit, except for the 4 Purple Mist. Okay, so Purple Mist was discussed in the previous deck. It can fly. It cannot be attacked. I mean, it cannot be hit by spells. So how many Wererabbits do we have? We have 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 23. So yeah, 23 Wererabbits. That is very respectable in my opinion. All right, so I got 2 of this guy from Moa. Put into a graveyard, reveal the top card of your main deck. If it's a Wererabbit, put it into your field. Otherwise, put it into your graveyard. Yeah, that only happens once when it gets whacked. Yeah. Then 4 of, and it's got Moon to get flying. It's a 1/300. Yeah, it's a 1/3. Then for these, I took 4 of the offensive one and then 2 of the defensive one. They're both Moon fueled to get boosted, and only once per turn, so it can become an 800, 400 once per turn when you pay a Moon, and it flies. Yeah. And then the other one does the same thing. It also flies, but it just gets a big butt. I put in 2. And this guy is great, and actually just the collector in me says this is a Taiwanese print, and these 3 are Japanese prints. Look at how light the Japanese print is compared to the Taiwanese one. Flyer gets plus 300 for each other Wererabbit you control. That's very nice. And it's a 2-drop. It otherwise, if it comes in by itself, it's very weak, easy to whack. But if you got Wererabbits on the board, it's going to be good. This one is kind of like a control, because you pay 2 Moon, and target Resonator's printed attack becomes 0 until end of turn. That's one way to neuter a big dude that's going against you. And then 3 of the Swordsman. I should have 4, but I had 3 from the cards that I've pulled. That's good enough for now. It's a flyer. When it enters, return target Resonator to its owner's hand. Yeah, 4.99, not bad. And then, of course, I had already discussed Purple Mist. How many Resonators was that? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 23, 27. Yeah, 27. That's great. That's great. Okay, then when it comes to the non-resonator spells, I've got these two to return all resonators to their owner's hands. That includes yours. For the awakening cost, 6, you may put up to 3 water resonators from your hand into your field. So yeah, so you return them and then you can put 3 back if you pay 6. And the awakening is an alternate cost, not an added cost. Yeah. Alright, then 2 for filtering. Look at the top 3 cards, pick one, put the other 2 at the bottom of your deck. It's really good if you can play it with this guy in case it gets whacked, but that's too much engineering. 1 of return target resonator to its owner's hand, or return up to 2 target resonators if you control a Wererabbit. It would be great to put a playset of this card, but there are so many other things that I want to do with this deck. I originally had it at 2, and then I kept testing it. I'm like, it's a nice spell. I mean, it's a nice trick to send something to somebody, to your opponent's hand, but I've got other things that I need to do that I think are more important, such as get my hands on some moon. Yeah, so I picked 2 of these guys to get moon. I already have a lot of flying, but it won't hurt to give flying to resonators that I don't have if I get desperate. But this deck has a lot of flying, which is good. And then again, another card that I would love to have 4 of, but there's other things that I want to do. While you control a moon, the non-Wererabbit resonators gain negative 500, and your Wererabbits gain 500. Pretty good. Then the anthem for Wererabbits. Yeah. And now it's a pure mono water deck, just 12. I'm sorry, 8 water stones, and then 4 of the regular moon, the moonlight. Because I'm not going monocolor, so it doesn't really matter. Even though you can produce 1 will of any attribute. Now, the problem with this card, of course, and in testing it became very clear, is that if it's the first one that lands on the board, you can't drop anything at all, because you need that definition. You need to have that other card to say the other attribute. So the other attribute is water. So yeah, this deck, unfortunately, if it drops one of these, so originally I had it at 4, 6, and I added the 2 extra stones just to get it so that I could get to my moon that I needed, but I could also not be stuck with this on the first turn too often. It could be that I change my mind later and I add even more water. I'm not sure, but it seemed to work most of the time. So that I think is good enough. So that's your Wererabbits. And yes, there are other Wererabbits, like in Lapis, there are a few. And I could turn the deck into a more multi-attribute deck. I don't know. I think that's a different deck than this particular deck. I just want it to go very simple. NPR, Wererabbits. Use even the Moa Wererabbit. Everybody's happy for now. And I used Charlotte. So that's the deck.